Welcome back to another installment of the Football Gawds. I'm with my two co-hosts. How you guys doing?
I'm alright, how are you, man?
I'm good. Kulego, how you doing, man?
You really wanna know?
Not
I'm
really.
sure you can guess.
Anyway, guys, it's been a while and there's a lot to catch up on, but let's start with the latest. Biggest game of the weekend, the Manchester Derby. Any thoughts, Kulego?
First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Springboks on back-to-back rugby victories. The only headline football sporting moment that matters at this point. The rest are just, I guess not that important. But hey, since I have to speak on this, yeah, disheartened. I don't know how to put that match in. I think it was Ntogo as soon as the lineup was released. He just said it's gonna be a long day for Man United,
Mm.
and I believed him. I looked at Man United's starting lineup as well. I'm like, hold on, this guy has spent over 400 million in the past 2 or 3 transfer windows, but I can't even see like there's not a single name on that lineup that I was like, yo, you know, this is someone that we can, rely on. Like I completely agreed with Dogo's statement there around it's gonna be a long day. It was they didn't even lift a finger. He like Man City was just on second gear the whole match. You could see
Mm.
it's like they were playing with like a amateur team. It was like a preseason match. They were just trying to feel their pace. Literally, Man City was just practicing in that match around like strategies, how they're gonna play without De Bruyne going forward. That was literally that. They could have
Mm.
scored as many goals as they wanted. Hey, literally, that's how much of a one-sided match that was. I don't think I've seen as bad a match. I think when Liverpool beat us 7-0, okay, we were bad, but yesterday's match was, yeah, I think that's the worst I've seen United play in a while. That was totally a poor match. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't have any hope now. It's bleak. It's bleak. It's bleak. It's bleak. And I don't know if getting rid of the manager will even change things. It's like, where do you go from here? Like, you started the process last season. There's hope we won a cup, but I think now, the excitement, like the reality is coming to the fore. And I guess Dogozo mentioned it as well a while back. It's like this guy maybe found out, we don't know what his style of play is.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah,
Ntogo?
that's not looking good. Not looking good.
Yeah. So like I said, I sent you guys a message. Most people at the start of lineups came up. I just saw like you can tell what type of night it's going to be with the players that Pep chooses because apart from Haaland, every player on that pitch was like a ball player. So I just knew Man United were going to be chasing shadows. It was Grealish, it was Foden, it was Bernardo Silva. I just knew that you guys are not touching the ball. I just told myself that. So, you guys are going to be chasing shadows the whole night, and that's how it turned out. And you say the worst since that 7-0 at Liverpool. I agree with you because I think really, funny enough, Onana was your man of the match. So if it
Mm.
wasn't for him, it could have been a 6 or 7-0 game as well. So yeah, dude, like that's like Kevin De Bruyne out aside, that's the strongest possible Man City team that you guys faced. So I don't know if I can say you guys are also a bit unlucky, that you faced them at their almost best. But yeah, I mean, I just think because these types of as poor as Man United have been since post Fergie, you guys are always good when you play against Man City because I think stylistically you have the players that like transition. Like that's what City struggle with the most. So Rashford and Hoyland on paper would be the best forwards to have playing against City. So I still think Ten Hag missed the trick, and this is something that Ole, funny enough, would always get right. So Ten Hag, I don't know what this guy's trying to do because even like a Mason Mount, I think a Mason Mount should have started. I'm not saying you guys would have won, but I'm just saying it would make more sense for like a Mount to start that game instead of an Ericsson, for example, because like Ericsson in that game, there's no points because you're not gonna have the ball. Ericsson is
Yeah.
the player that needs the ball, kind of thing. So why put on Ericsson when you won't have the ball? McTominay made sense. Yes, I understand McTominay being there. You needed a Fred-like player. Fred is not there. Maybe Amrabat could have been that nigga. Amrabat was getting cooked by Grealish, by the way. And Grealish was rinsing this guy, dude. Um, so yeah, like Ten Hag, like honestly, like all bias aside, whatever, I honestly just don't understand what he's trying to do. That's my thing. I've said it from the first since his signings before the season even started. I'm like, okay, you buy an Onana playing out from the back, I see it. Then you buy a Mount and you see gonna be a transition. Then like your Amrabat, I'm like, yo, what are you building here? Like, I really don't understand what you're trying to build. So fundamentally, I think for what Man United is meant to be, to play the way you played yesterday, like it's not like you didn't play like a big team at all. Like it is actually embarrassing to play like that at home. And like Man City is the best team in the world. Yes, I don't think anyone expected you to win, but you guys didn't have a threat. Like none, none, none. So yeah, I can only imagine how you feel as a Man United fan, but that is very embarrassing, I would say.
Yeah. Just 2 points with that game, right? The first one is it showed me that Rashford needs to spend some time on the bench. I think something is just not right with him. I can't tell what exactly it is. I mean, that one opportunity he had in the game yesterday, Rashford on a bad day, a normal Rashford on a bad day would have scored that.
Hmm.
And yesterday, this guy, he caught it correctly, he did everything right, but did not score. And I was like, what is going on here? Something is not clicking. I don't know what it is. I can't point it out. That's the first thing. The second thing could be a debate. We can discuss it. Is Anthony a bigger flop than Pepe?
I think so. I think so.
And this is considering the fact that Eric Ten Hag literally went to go fetch Pepe versus Junior Emery. Emery did not want Pepe.
Mm,
So Ten Hag specifically overpaid because
mm,
as a player he wanted to fit his style, which we still don't know what's his style.
mm,
And this player is here, and we don't know what he offers you. I don't know what Anthony offers you.
mm,
And that's the scary part. You have a player here who's earning so much, you spend so much money for, but you don't know what he offers.
Sorry, on
Yeah.
that point, sorry just to cut you off. On that point, I think Tanag really has three. I mean, I know he signed more than three, but he's got three, like, for lack of a bit, like marquee signings. Like the signings where he was the one who said, yo, I want these guys. And two of them started on the bench yesterday. One of them is, okay, Onana started, yes. Anthony was on the bench. Mount was on the bench. These are your signings, and these are the guys you said, yo, I want these two
Mm,
niggas. So the club gave you those two niggas, and you don't even start them in like your biggest game of the season. So it's like, I'm sure, like as the board, even if they even care, they must have looked at that game and be like, how this guy, he wanted these two players, these are his two most important players. He doesn't even start them.
mm,
So like, what are we spending our money on here? You know what I mean?
mm.
Niggas is playing with Johnny Evans, like, and like no disrespect to Johnny Evans, like like, but it's like yo, you guys are starting Johnny Evans and Maguire, like after
Versus
everything,
Haaland.
my nigga. I'm sure Haaland is actually trying to apply. Like I'm surprised he didn't score a hat trick yesterday, just to
Yo,
show you that you
guys,
guys are disrespecting me.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys like saw, like he literally nearly scored the same goal twice, but he scored it
Yeah,
Yes,
the second time around. And
red
yes.
header,
the exact same
identical,
thing happened. I'm like,
identical.
how poor of of awareness do these defenders have as centre backs? All of them are taken by the momentum of the ball as opposed to look man marking, right? Like those goals were like the like defensive 101, like the way they considered those goals. Like the basics, I'm not sure. Like the way I've seen the gap for Man United, right? It's that we had a player like Casemiro who played out of his skin the last season, right? Like he was plugging a bigger hole in that
Yeah.
United team. And we can see that bigger hole. Midfield and defense. Like we don't have a Martinez he was good, but that guy he was lacking a defensive leader. We can say Varane, but Varane is injury prone. Maguire, it's Maguire is been having that form. So what's sad for us, or what's dangerous for us, is not having Casemiro, because that guy was just the gap that was
Yeah.
keeping that other season afloat. And you can see how imbalanced this United team is, just missing this one guy.
No, true, true. But also another thing I've learned from that game is that, hey, Onana might be a good keeper, guys. Hey, I actually think he might be a good keeper.
I wouldn't
But
go that far.
no, imagine Onana. Imagine Onana with Ruben Diaz and Akanji as his center backs. You won't score, bro. He's going to be the most effective keeper. He just has to have the right defense.
You have a
But that's
point. You have a point. Because look at when he has the ball, like he's a ball playing. They don't
Dude,
have options. Like those guys are not in a position to receive the ball. He's overly exposed. Like I think keepers like Onana and Ederson, those guys are just they're not gonna be the best shot stoppers, but they just need to save, the basic. I
mm,
don't think he's meant to face so many chances against him. And I know he's a keeper, like we argue keepers must be great at like saving the ball. But I think like you said, with the right balance of a defense, that guy can actually be a quite decent keeper. He's just overly exposed.
yeah. And also, there's just too many things there at United. I know there's injuries. I know there's injuries, but hey, playing Mason Mount in the second half, I don't really understand that decision. Like even the strategy was off. You can't wait to be 3-0 down and then you wanna put in attackers. Like what are you were
he's a
you
coward.
thinking? Like what kind of football is that? Not
He's a
even
coward.
not even Jose Mourinho will do something like that. And we know he's the most defensive. With Jose, if that score was a 2-0, best believe he'll be putting in attacking players.
Mm. Or like a change of strategy, like have a different kind of an attacker, if you know what I mean. Because you see, like Rashford isn't working, for example. Fine,
Yeah.
take off Rashford and put on like a Martial, or like you know what I
Mhm.
mean. Like thing is, subs they just don't make sense, and they come a bit too late. And even so, like you don't see a difference, like when niggas have come on, like to like change their game. Because that's the thing about subs. Even if it's just for like 5 minutes, they must come and they must make an impact. And then
Yeah.
even if you still lose after that, because then obviously the other team will make an adjustments. But like there wasn't any impact. Like his subs didn't change anything. Like City still had control. Like it was comfortable. Like there was never a moment where like, okay, Man United is trying to push for anything here. So I actually want to ask on that note, because me, I'm starting to like think about it now a lot. Do you think this guy's lost the dressing room? Because, and maybe not in like a dramatic way where like players hate him or anything like that. But do you think the players are starting to look like, hey, this guy, this is not the guy, you know what I mean, kind of thing? Because that's the way I see it. That's the way I see the application on the field. It's like
Mm.
players don't really believe in what they're doing out there. Because like, and look, obviously this is not. I hope people are watching this don't think we're basing all of this just on the Man City game, because like it's Man City, they're going to beat most people. But I think just from what we've seen on the evidence of the season so far, yeah, it's looking bleak. And from where I'm standing as a neutral, I can see that some of these guys. I mean, obviously you'll get your McTominays of the world. Shit, McTominay will always try.
Yeah.
I respect it. But yeah, I'm not seeing players there who are like, yo, I'm going to fight for this cause. Even Bruno, like, like, you know what I mean? Like, because you can be off form, but the application can be there. And like, I'm not
Yeah,
seeing it either.
I want to
Yeah.
talk on that guy actually. That's the guy I wanted to talk about because people, yeah, tend to blame Maguire, the usual suspects. Onana, Maguire, Martial, who else do they always blame? Whoever that's pairing up with Maguire. But yesterday, if there's one thing I saw, hi, Bruno Fernandes is no captain. And when I
no,
say no captain, I don't mean an unbad. I mean a leader. He is not a leader. I saw it yesterday. Because when your team is down and they're looking down, as a leader, you're supposed to take charge. That's one. Number two, he does this funny thing. Eh? He likes running around as if he's busy, but he's doing nothing. He has no
That's
impact. He's doing nothing. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? He's not tackling players. He's not closing spaces. He's just running around. And then he likes when he has a ball, he just crosses into the box, whether there's someone or not. Who still plays that kind of football?
percentage football. Yeah, nah, dude.
yeah, like, like to your, expanding on your point, dog, in terms of the dressing room, right? I think what we know for sure is that as limited as what Solskjaer was, right? He had the dressing room. I
Mm.
think he was just exposed because tactically you can't always rely on like players just playing out of their skin, like on moments, right? That was what Man United was under Solskjaer, Moments United, right? They was technically limited. Now with Ten Hag, dude, there's no way those guys don't have moments in them as much as they are not probably clear on the playing style, right? But those players should be playing, beyond like as a professional footballer, you have pride yourself in like winning, right? So it's almost as if those guys are trying to prove a point against that guy because of maybe his treatment that he's doing to guys like Sancho, and he's trying to be. I think with managers, right? It's a fine point. It's a fine line. Like when you're trying to exert your dominance and culture, and then your prestige doesn't allow for that. I think I don't know, man. It's a tough balance, for him to have. So I think some guys are just looking at the bigger scale of things. Is this guy really like a big name manager? Like, I know he's won in Holland and Netherlands and all of that, right? But look at the players that he signed for United. They haven't actually elevated Man United to a certain extent. So you can see that there is some mistrust from his players. Like, there's no explanation why Man United are so horrible this season compared to last season. There's no reason. We've got more players, you know. There's no reason why they should be this horrible. Must be something in the dressing room.
Look, man, he's starting off the same way as Arteta started off. But let me tell you what the difference is. This guy has a history of winning, like you said, in Holland, Netherlands. Arteta didn't have a history of winning. But Arteta came in with the same discipline. But what was important was that he knew that he needed to get it right. You can't tell a player, discipline a player, yet the whole team is not performing. You need to have
Yeah,
that balance. And I'm like, look, just like any other manager, not every player you bring in is going to be great. I accept that. But you can't tell me that majority of the players that you brought in are not elevating the team. Now that's a bigger issue.
Yeah,
Because
nah.
honestly, out of his signings, only I can arguably say Casemiro and Martinez are the
And
two
Casemiro's
signings.
not even his signing, really. Martinez, yes, I think that's probably the only one. I agree with you.
Yeah, I'll say those are the signings that probably elevated the team. And now I'm also hearing that you guys might be re-signing David De Gea on loan
Hey, that would be hilarious.
because
That would
Onana's
really
going to
be.
AFCON.
oh wow. Oh wow. The irony in that, like, what's your strategy actually? Like, okay, well, actually, when you look at this season, when we brought him in, remember, like, who said that? Like, as a strong coach, you must drink. I think it was you, though. As a strong coach, you must stick to your philosophy, right, and not change. Like, I'll use a weird example. Like, Company is getting beat this season, like, hard. But you don't see him like abandoning his principles and way of playing. Ten Hag, last season, remember when we started, he was trying this thing of playing from the back and all of that. Then it didn't work after like 2 or 3 games. Then it changed our style to transition football. And then that sort of saved the season, kept Man United afloat. Then now this season is like Man United must be the best transition football team in the world. How? Now your style is transition. Now you're coaching a style of play that is not yours, and you're expecting to win with that. So maybe that's why the dressing room, I'm like, oh, this guy. But because transition is like counter attack.
Yeah, it's
You're just
fun.
waiting for other teams to attack, and you hit them on the break. And that's what United has been doing the start of the season. We haven't been, out passing teams, out playing teams. We're just waiting for them. Then we react, which is like confusing because most of these players that he has, I don't think they signed up for that. Anthony is not a transition playing